Hey everyone, this is David from Scizor Explosion, and today I'm going to bring you a deck profile, post-rotation, of Scizor GX. And this guy, he is my favorite Pokemon. I'm very excited to bring you this deck. I've been working really hard on it, trying to get it as consistent as possible, and I really think this Pokemon has a lot of potential. So I'll be bringing you that. We'll be bringing y'all guys a whole bunch of deck profiles and battle videos this weekend. Hope y'all are excited for that, and thanks to all you guys who have subscribed. Remember, if we get up to 50 subscribers, we're going to start giving away Hyper Rare Pokemon GX. So y'all stay tuned for that. And now, let's get on to Scizor GX. This deck profile I've been working on for quite a while, and I'm trying other builds out too. I want to get a Scizor Drampa, Scizor GX Drampa GX going, and because I think that has a lot of potential with Shrine of Punishment. That's the new stadium that lets you put a damage counter on each Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX between each player's turn. So that's something I'm going to be working on as well. But right now, this is the Scizor GX build that I have, and I hope y'all enjoy. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get on to the video. So to start out, we have 4 copies of Scizor. You've got to run 4 copies because you got to get your Scizors out. But Scizor is actually pretty good. He has the attack twin play. You get, for 1 colorless energy, you can search your deck for up to 2 Scizor and put them onto the bench. It's kind of like having a Pokemon fan club in attack form. And then agility for 20 damage. Flip a coin if heads, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. Pretty good attack. I mean, you can protect your Scizors from being knocked out, or your Scizors from being knocked out on the next turn, and in preparation for those Scizors that are coming out. So 4 copies of Scizor. And then we run 3 copies of Scizor GX. Scizor GX just came out in the Celestial Storm expansion. It's got 210 HP, a single colorless retreat cost, and then the ability Danger Perception. If this Pokemon's remaining HP is 100 or less, its attacks do 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness resistance. So that means Steel Wing will start hitting for 160 damage with a choice man that's 190. It's enough to knock out some of the big Pokemon in the game, like Buzzwole GX, Rayquaza GX. Lapras has been seeing a rise in play as well, and this will take care of that as well. And let's move on to the attack. Steel Wing for a Metal Energy and Colorless Energy does 80 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness resistance. After playing a couple battles with this deck, I've realized that Scizor is very bulky, especially if you put on a Metal Frying Pan, which we do play in this deck. Metal Frying Pan makes it to where your the metal Pokemon it's attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks and has no weakness. So that'll make it to where Scizor takes 60 less damage from attacks, so he can be very bulky. And he's one of those Pokemon that's really scary to attack into. If you attack into him and don't one-shot him, he can come back and one-shot almost anything you've got. Then Crosscut GX is a very powerful GX attack. Does 100 damage plus if your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon. This attack does 100 more damage, so any evolution, it can almost instantly knock them out. If you have a couple of Delmise on the bench, and then maybe a Choice Band, you can hit up to 250 easily with this attack. So 3 copies of Scizor GX. Next, we play 3 copies of Delmise. Delmise is like the Regirock for metal types. It has the ability Steelworker. Your metal type Pokemon's attacks do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, just like Regirock. So having these out on the bench can really make your Scizor hit for high numbers. If you have 2 on the bench, or even if you have 1 on the bench, you'll be able to 2-shot anything with a Choice Band. So that'll make you hit for 120. And then 2 or 3 on the bench, especially after your Danger Perception kicks in, can make your damage really high. Plus with a Choice Band, you'll start hitting really high numbers really fast. Anchor Shot we don't even use. We don't have any colorless energy in this deck or rainbows. So he's really just there for the ability. Ooh, my camera went out of focus. Sorry about that. He's really just there for the ability, and he's really easy to get out. And the one advantage he does have over Regirock is he's not an EX or a GX. So knocking him out will only be worth 1 prize and make your opponent think, well, should I really knock this out, or should I just go for those Scizors? So 3 copies of Delmise. We have a few Pokemon we play as one-ofs in this deck, and 2 of them are attackers, 1 there for utility. We've got 1 copy of Registeel, and this is the new Registeel from Celestial Storm. It has the ability Exoskeleton. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks, and that's whether he's in the active or on the bench. So if a Buzzwole tries to Jet Punch him, he'll only take 10 damage on the bench. And then Silver Fist, if your opponent's active Pokemon has an ability to 60 more damage. So this can 2-shot any Pokemon with an ability. If you're going up against Gardevoir, which could see a rise in play because of Rayquaza, this can one-shot a Gardevoir pretty easily. So one copy of Registeel. Then we play one copy of Dustmane Necrozma, the non-GX. It's got that mainly for the first attack there. This is a very good lead for this deck. With Dust Shot, you can hit 60 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon EX or GX in play. It's not unaffected by weakness and resistance. So if they're in the active, you attach a Choice Band, maybe have a couple Delmise on the bench. You could hit up to 100 damage with this with Choice Band and one Delmise. If you hit the active. If you hit the bench, it's still going to do 60. But still, you can get some chip damage down there on some of your opponent's EXs and GXs, since Scizor's Steel Wing won't be hitting for high damage until they get some damage on you. So one copy of Necrozma, Dustmane Necrozma. And then one copy of a Rangaroo. A Rangaroo is there for the instructability mainly. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. I find it helps with consistency. It may end up coming out of this deck. I'm not sure. I'm still doing some testing with a Rangaroo. It is a decent backup attacker, and we can get him charged up in 2 turns because we do play double colorless energy in this deck. So one copy of a Rangaroo. And to round off the Pokemon line, of course, we play 2 copies of Tapu Lele. For the one-tag ability, search your deck for any supporter at any time. And then Energy Drive is a pretty good attack too. So we do have access to double colorless energy in this deck. It can be a decent backup attacker if you need it. So there's 2 copies of Tapu Lele. And that's it for the Pokemon. On to the supporters. Of course, the first one is going to be 4 copies of Cynthia. Cynthia is the draw supporter for this format, the best draw supporter in the post-rotation format. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 cards. So 4 copies of Cynthia. And this one, I play a little bit differently than the other decks I've built. I play 4 copies of Tate and Liza. This deck needs some draw power. Tate and Liza lets you either shuffle your hand to your deck and draw 5 cards like a Shauna, or it is a switch. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. You need draw on this deck. You need to be able to get to your energies. Being able to attach an energy every turn is crucial. So if you don't attach an energy a turn, sometimes you're set behind. But Tate and Liza and Cynthia together should help with that. Plus, we play another draw supporter in this deck as well. I play 3 copies of Guzma. Guzma is really good for targeting down Pokemon you want to take down. It's really good for if you need to charge up a Scizor. Maybe you have a Scizor in the active that doesn't have an extra energy on it. You can Guzma up something your opponent has that has a high retreat cost or not enough energy to attack. And then just sit there for a few turns, maybe hit Dust Shot off with your Dustmane Necrozma, or use Registeel to sit there as a wall, attach a metal frying pan to him, make him take 50 less damage from attacks. So 3 copies of Guzma. 2 copies of Judge. Judge is the end of this format. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 4 cards. I find it's good because, like I said, you need a lot of draw power in this deck. You need to be able to get to the cards you need and start getting your Scizors out there attacking. And the last supporter we play is 2 copies of Lily. Lily, I play in almost every deck now post-rotation. It is my usually go-to first turn draw supporter. And this card really helps. I was building this deck and I had totally forgot about Lily. I just added Lily in today. And once I did, after a couple of play tests, I was like, wow, I can't believe I forgot Lily. I won't ever forget you again, Lily. I'm sorry. 2 copies of Lily. And that's it for the supporters. Next up, we play 4 copies of Ultra Ball. This is the searcher of any Pokemon deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand and then search your deck for a Pokemon. And that is very important in this deck, since there's nothing like Mysterious Treasure to help you search out Pokemon. I mean, I guess you could use Mysterious Treasure to search out Delmise or Lele, but I'd rather not. Then I play 3 copies of Nest Ball. Nest Ball helps you sit up. This deck has a lot of basics, and especially basics that you need to evolve, like Scyther. You need to get those Scythers into play. I usually like to keep 2 in play at all times. And that way you have a Scyther you can evolve, and then 1 you can evolve later, or something like that. But 3 Nest Balls has been working for me. Next up, I have 3 copies of Choice Band. With Choice Band, you can hit those higher numbers. Choice Band, you want almost always attached to a Scyther that you're being aggressive with. But you can be aggressive or you can be defensive with Scizor, with Scizor. Choice Band lets you hit 120 with a Delmise on the bench, or if you've already got your Danger Perception active, you can hit 190 without a Delmise, and with more Delmise, like if you have 2 Delmise, you'll hit 210, be able to knock out things like Zoroark. some of those bigger Pokemon that Scizor wouldn't be able to hit on his own. So 3 copies of Choice Band. Next up, we played 2 copies of Metal Frying Pan. And Metal Frying Pan, I started out at 3, and I feel like 3 was a little much. So 2 copies has been working well for me. If you're playing this deck in November when Macargo GX comes out, Metal Frying Pan may go back up to 3. Because this card, it's a Pokemon tool. The metal Pokemon it's attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks and has no weakness. So it can really help in the Macargo matched up. It could help Scizor survive a couple more turns and then come back and one-shot with Danger Perception as long as you have a couple Delmise on the bench. But Metal Frying Pan, I like it so far. It's really good with Registeel. You can attach it to Registeel and make him a really beefy wall. He'll take 50 less damage from attacks and have no weakness. As I mentioned, though, Fire's not very prevalent right now until we hit November, whenever Macargo comes out. And then I think Metal Frying Pan is going to be a must for this deck. Next up, I played 2 copies of Switch. Switch is really good. Even though your Pokemon have a low retreat cost, you don't want to be discarding their energies. But we do have a few that have higher retreat costs. Dustmane Necrozma has a 2, and Registeel has a 3. So those switches are really valuable. You could Guzma and then you switch to get your Scizor back into play and then start hitting damage on those Pokemon you want to take down. And I find Switch is very, very good in this deck. It's another reason we play Tate and Eliza, because the switching is invaluable in this deck. You don't want to be discarding any energies if you can help it. So 2 copies of Switch. And then we have 3 1-ups I play as items in this deck. I play 1 copy of Energy Recycle System. Like I said, energies are very, very important in this deck. You want an attachment nearly every turn so you can stay ahead of the game. You can choose 1, put a basic energy card from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck, just like Rescue Stretcher, but for basic energies. Then we play 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. Rescue Stretcher is the energy recycle system for Pokemon. Put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. And then I play 1 copy of Pile Pad, because sometimes you want to get back those supporters, those draw supporters. Like I said, draw supporters very, very important in this deck. You want to get all the cards you need into your hand as soon as possible. Pal Pad just lets you shuffle 2 supporters. You can shuffle back your Guzmas, you can shuffle back your Tate and Lizas, or your Cynthias. Maybe even a Lily if you think you need it, or Judge. 1 copy of Pal Pad. And then to end the deck off, we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 metal energies, and 1, 2, 3, 4 double colorless energies. And the double colorless are there mainly to give us access to Scizor GX's GX attack, Crosscut GX. And Crosscut is not an attack to take it lightly. It's very, 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 very strong, especially going up against evolution decks, going up against opposing Scizor decks, or maybe even something like Silvally, something like that. Crosscut with a Delmise on the bench can do 210 damage. Choice Band, you can hit 240. 2 Delmises on the bench and a Choice Band, 250. You can KO anything, as long as it's an evolution Pokemon. And if Gardevoir does come back, Crosscut will easily handle Gardevoir, dealing 400 plus damage. So yeah, Scizor could be the counter to Gardevoir, which will be the counter to Rayquaza, sorry. But yeah, I feel like Scizor has a lot of potential. Maybe I'm being biased because he is my favorite Pokemon. But it's one of the reasons I named this, or I put in the part for Scizor Explosion in this channel. But yeah, Scizor I feel like has a lot of potential. I feel like it's not a Pokemon you should sleep on. Danger Perception makes it a very dangerous Pokemon. If you attack into it and don't one-shot it, he can come back and one-shot you right back. So yeah, there's the deck profile, guys. Scizor GX with Delmise. It's very strong, and like I said, I do want to get up a Scizor Drampa GX deck profile. I feel like that one has a lot of potential with Shrine of Punishment, the new stadium that came out, Celestial Storm. But y'all let me know what you think about Scizor GX. Do you think he's going to be a really strong Pokemon? Do you think he's not going to be very strong? What other things could you play in your Scizor GX? Maybe there's something in your deck that you wouldn't necessarily play that I have, maybe. And also, let me know if there's any other deck profiles you want to see. I'd love to get those up for y'all. If there's something I'm missing, maybe there's some deck profile that's going to be huge that I'm missing. let me know, and I will try my best to get that video up for y'all. Y'all be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.